So here is race 2, and race 2 was no better than the first race, so let's say. Kirby, the guy in front of me, in charge of the pit lane tonight, he literally gave a rebriefing whilst we were sat in the pit lane to all the drivers who kept slamming on into corners. And yeah, the point he made was, if you're going fast and full speed into a corner, never use your brake because you're just going to spin out. I was hoping that might have got through to a few people, but you'll see in this race that yeah, nothing really changed. Anyways, this is me out on my own. I went out first, not sure why. Seeing as Nathan was sat in his own little pit lane, should have just let him out first, really. I would have had a more entertaining race, I'd say. So, if I had some grip in these first 2 laps, I probably could have done the fastest lap time of the night. Unfortunately, you can hear the tyres squealing, I just didn't get the grip. The car didn't feel slow, it just lacked in chicanes, the corners, oversteer, understeer, yeah, not really much I could do about this. So this is the second lap, and I'm pretty sure this is my final clear lap. As luck would have it. Right now it kind of just looks like I'm racing on my own with the track to myself, and I wish that was the case because overall just appalling 2 races I was involved in. It always makes me wonder why people who, like, no disrespect, people who don't do go-karting as a hobby book on so late at night when they've either never done it before or they're severely inexperienced. Like this session, this race right now is probably 11:15 at night. And I know if I wasn't into go-karting like I am, the last thing I would think of was, you know, to book on go-karting at this time of night. Anyways, enough of the small complaining. Yeah, as you can see, there's 2 people in front of me, and that was literally my race. But this is quite an entertaining race just because of, yeah, you see some bad driving, as you did in the first race. So I quickly catch up to the 2 back markers, which then ends up being 3 back markers, 4 back markers, yeah, and life goes on. Now, after the first race, I'm expecting this to be some slow, straight. I'm waving at, just a shout out on the bridge there, I'm waving to Callum, Owen and Beth. So yeah, if they're watching the video, that's just me saying hi. I'm not sure if they was looking, but yeah, I was being nice. Yeah, this person just thinks he's got the speed over me for some reason. And because he did that move, which slows him down and slows me down. I said in the first race, like, there, he skidded out on a pretty flat corner and he's completely lost his place anyway, so wasn't really any point in defending the line. We are racing for lap times. Like, again, slamming on in the corners was very frustrating for me. I don't like racing with inexperienced drivers. I say this all the time. You know, everyone wants to get their money's worth, whatever you're paying, and I am coming here tonight just to see if I can post any insane lap times. Unfortunately, not tonight. Oh, the issue was I was supposed to be racing the members event, which was the race before the first race of these sessions. I had a bit of an issues though, because apparently I never actually got an elite membership when I re-signed up after being dormant for a few years. So yeah, I had to upgrade my membership to be able to race it, and at that point I just couldn't be bothered. I decided to just come and race on my own. I asked Nathan and he said yes, so it's literally just me and Nathan. And then James hopped on as he was finishing his shift as we got there. So, coming up to the guy with the yellow helmet cover on. I had a few moments with this guy in the first race. Like, that there is just not needed. And then this, like, no idea. I'm shaking my head because I'm like, are you doing that intentionally or what? It doesn't really matter. I'm much faster than him, evidently. But he could clearly see that I was there, and he purposely just steered his way into me, as if he wanted to T-bone me, make me spin out. Just not good driving. There's nothing more I can say about that. And well, I think that's probably the last time I see him, hopefully, in these races. I doubt I overtake him again. There was a few members on this race who were actually good, you know. The difference between members and non-members, I'm not shooting down people who are aspiring to be members or they want to be members. It's just the respect you get on the track. The rules they follow. I'm putting my fingers up. Callum, Owen and Beth there. My apologies, guys. I don't mean to be rude. I'm zigzagging currently because I don't want to lose my heat in my tyres that I've preciously like, spent a good, I don't know, probably 6 laps at this point getting. Straight back to green. Now, I'm not sure, but towards the end of this race, I think Nathan does end up quite close to me somehow, even though he did come out the pits pretty much dead last. Well, yeah, I think I just saw him in my peripheral vision then. Yeah, anyways, this is just me overtaking the slower drivers at this point. I think the guy in red, he seems to know basic racing lines, so I'm assuming he's one of the members who's been before. He undercuts this guy nicely, and I try to do the same. And now this is the big one comes. Yep, and that's what Kirby tried to warn people in the pit lane before we went out. See, that person there was carrying full speed narrowly into that chicane. He's then decided that instead of slowing down gradually, he'd slam on. Where does that cause me to go? I'm going for a switchback. I'm expecting him to extend out of the racing line, and I can do the switchback of dreams, which is what I did to James in the first race. But no, he just takes a full spin out, and I just pelt into the side of him. Not my fault at all. I couldn't go anywhere. He should have just had his ears, you know, more open when Kirby was giving the informative racing tips, shall we say. And there we go, Nathan's right behind me. That's the only person I'd like to just keep behind me at this point. Now this yellow flag is actually because the person I hit decided he was too hurt to carry on the race. He pulled over into the tyre wall, and yeah, he's on that. Yeah, you see him there on the tyre wall. He just pulled into there because, yeah, he's injured. I'm not even entirely sure if it is the same guy, to be honest. But this is the longest red flag I've probably ever witnessed. So if you care to watch the red flag and what's going on, then feel free. I do try and catch Kirby to have a chat and see what's going on. Nathan's pretty far behind me now. Not sure what happened. Maybe he got held up a little bit in that chicane. I see Sinead's walked over. Sinead's walked over to get the guy out of his car because he's literally gave up on just there. I see Kirby's walking over. This is my opportunity to ask him what's going on, essentially. flip my visor up and I shout him over.
He's hurt himself. What? He's hurt himself, just his hip and his arm apparently.
Yeah, so his hip and his arm, he's hurt himself, and it makes sense if that's the person I hit out. I mean, the guy I hit had the blue.
You might need one alpha.
Okay, I'm just joking with Kirby at this point. I can't even tell who the guy has the, but yeah, that is the guy I T-boned essentially. But there was nowhere for me to go. At the end of the day, should have listened better. Could have saved himself a few unbruised ribs. He had all the warning in the world. The small rebriefing in the pit lane was a good minute, just warning people not to slam on the corners, and he just didn't want to take that into consideration. And this is why accidents happen. I'm clearly fine. Why am I fine? I have the neck brace, which I mentioned in my last video last week. When I hit someone or I hit a tyre wall, my head will jerk forward maybe an inch or two. It won't go all the way down, so I can't possibly jerk my neck. I can't give myself whiplash if we're going to compare it to a car accident. So I hit the guy on the chicane, ploughed into him essentially, and I was good because my neck was restricted. I'm looking at Nathan at this point. I don't know what, again, this guy in the yellow, he's spamming his accelerator pedal for no reason. Nathan starts shaking his head. I'm shaking my head, and I'm like, what are you doing? If you just sit there and just spam the accelerator pedal, first of all, you're just gonna burn the car out for no reason. Second of all, these pedals are very mechanically built. It's really not hard for the spring that holds the pedal position, to just come off. It could easily just fall off. And then what do? We sit in another red flag because someone was being impatient. Yeah, and that is the guy with the yellow helmet cover on yet again. So with that moving after a very, very long red flag, well, so it felt like an eternity from when I was out there. It goes back to green. Not sure what I think I might just sit behind this guy this lap because, yeah, I mean, he's not racing that bad actually. He probably knows a bit more what he's doing. Obviously, he could be more clinical in his racing lines, but yeah, he's nowhere near the inexperience of the helmet cover racing people, so I should say. Yeah, due to him getting out there, I was thinking I might be able to get the better exit, but I didn't get it. So it just forced me to stay behind him at this point. I tried to take the gap. No, I don't get the gap. I get the speed here. Try and force him to go narrow, and then I take the switch back. Yeah. One of my favourite moves. I let Nathan past here, do I? Yes, I do. And now I believe this is Nathan's fastest lap. I think Nathan posted 58.7 this lap. I purposely won't hold up the faster racer. I had a rough first sector. Nathan had a better first sector. I could tell by the way he was carrying the speed through the chicane. I've let him pass and he's completely bolted past me straight away. This is a pretty clear lap, I think. So yeah, this wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't a 58.7. You can see that he has got some distance on me. Distance that I couldn't match. He's fortunate really, because he's caught up to potentially a member who's actually carried the speed. Like, look how far he's in front of me, there's nothing I can do there. He's got the straight line speed on me, but yeah, there's his clear lap, and I'm pretty sure that's his 58.7. Nathan might have been recording this race with his own GoPro. Can't remember. So yeah, if he has, then yeah, solid lap by him. And now I'm trying to figure out the safest way to get past this person in the purple suit. Closes the gap out on me there. Leaves me no space. I go down the inside, there's nothing you can do about that. If you lose your speed coming underneath, then yeah. Me being the racer I will punish you for that. I'm pretty sure every member, especially a fast member, will do the exact same move there. So I've completely lost Nathan at this point due to my small holdback, and he is in a pretty solid kart. I think it's in kart 17. It does take it out again with my GoPro when I land it to him, but I think the race that he goes in is probably even worse than this one. So yeah, he only posted 58.9 that race. There's so many opportunities I had to post decent lap times in this race, and just on the final down straight from the big ramp, I just caught up to traffic. I'm coming up here. This has been a pretty good lap so far, and all of a sudden I'm halted behind because I get stuck behind this person, which that's just bad luck. I mean, there's a yellow flag anyway, so even if he wasn't there, I was slowing down. This is the end of the race anyway. As you can see, not really much improvement from the first race. I'm sorry if the guy who watches it, who I T-boned, comes across this video and he thinks somehow I shouldn't have smacked into the side of him, but what can I do? I was racing my racing line and he skidded out in my racing line. Some things can't be prevented.